Hi colleagues, this is George. I'm based in the London office. I work for Global HR and my role is all about employee engagement and experience and EDI. So I've been asked to say a few words about EDI. First of all, 3 little letters, very big meaning: equality, diversity and inclusion. So equality, I think, there's a clue in the word equal. It's the way in which we treat one another. It's the way in which we work with one another, internally and externally. We need to make sure that we treat everyone fairly, equitably. Diversity. Now, I'm very, very privileged to live in London, the most diverse city in the world, perhaps. It's a wonderful place, and diversity is all about the unique things which make you who you are, and then your place in your community and in your society, and embracing all of those tiny little differences, because ultimately we're not that different, all of us. But it's about recognising, respecting and valuing those differences and using them well in our work, using them well in the way we interact with people, how we deliver our work externally with partners, with customers. Inclusion, another word with a clue, include. It's about making sure that people are really included. So the differences that colleagues may have, they don't matter. It's about making sure that the spaces we create at work feel really fair and everyone has a voice and everyone's listened to and everyone's respected. And that actually feeds through into wider society. So how we behave at work is a reflection of how we are as citizens in our own communities in society. And I think at the British Council, when we look at some of those parts of what makes up EDI and what we bring as workers, as colleagues, is fundamental to how the British Council is successful around the world. We're responsible for delivering cultural relations, building relationships, respectful relationships, working mutually and collaboratively with others to create a better place. And with those qualities of EDI at the heart of how the British Council works, means we can be authentic, because without that sensitivity and that embracing of EDI, we cannot do the great job that we do around the world, and we won't be able to make the lasting difference that we say we want to. So there's a little snapshot of EDI.
The British Council's Equality, Diversity and Inclusion vision is for an inclusive organisational culture, and at the heart of this, an organisational culture that is fair, one that builds on the knowledge and skills and understanding that exist within our workforce of working in different cultures. In addition to this, we want everyone who comes into contact with us to feel valued and respected, and that is whether they come into contact with us on or offline, and irrespective of the kind of engagement that we have with them. At the heart of our diversity strategy, we have this overarching goal of trying to mainstream diversity in everything that we do. By that we mean to make sure that diversity and all that it encompasses is a part and parcel of our cultural relations work, wherever it's taking place, however it's taking place, so that diversity, as the shorthand for equality, diversity and inclusion, is not side-streamed, it's not an afterthought, that we take a proactive approach. This proactive approach will help another element of our vision, which is to make a leading contribution to international aspects of diversity and to, of course, create impact for the UK and to support the agendas and the priorities of the countries in which we work and work with, on the basis of one of our 5 values, which is mutuality.
It's quite a big question, but I suppose the key thing is that we want to place EDI at the heart of our cultural relations ambitions, because EDI represents the mutual trust, the respect and understanding we strive for on behalf of the British Council and the UK in general. So EDI really is, underpins our brand, our reputation and our success. We want to be fair to the people that we work with. We want to make sure that we have a really diverse team in place across the world, and that we work with diverse partners, and that we understand difference and we respect difference, and that we want everybody to feel respected and valued. I think what we also want to do is make sure that we're contributing to taking forward the conversations around EDI in each of the countries and territories that we work, so that we're placing ourselves at the centre of those conversations and recognising the importance of EDI to building safer and more prosperous societies. And so really it's about embedding EDI in everything we do. So that really is, in a nutshell, our overarching goal in the area of EDI.
Bengalala. We are EDI members from Myanmar. There are 6 EDI areas, and they are age, sexual orientation,
disability,
gender,
religious and belief, and ethnicity.
The 3 important cases are the business case, the moral case, and the legal case. So, the business case of EDI. Why is EDI important from a business point of view? Because it makes sense. Because having a diverse workforce brings in fresh and new perspectives, because it increases the skill set of an organization, and because it brings in different set of knowledge and expertise, and there is a whole load of research out there that literally supports the business case of EDI. So that is one case. The other case is the moral case. And why? Simply because it makes sense and because it's the right thing to do. So we as an organization want to be a fair and respectful organization, and not just for our employees, but also with our customers and the suppliers, as well as program participants. And then there is the legal case for EDI. Why? Because the law is requiring us to actually comply and to comply and to respect the law. So there is a whole set of international legal frameworks that actually talk about EDI from a human rights point of view, but also there are several domestic laws, and an example is the UK Equality Act 2010, that are there to eradicate unjustified and unlawful discrimination in society as well as at the workplace. So because of these three cases, EDI is important for an organization. So to start with, DAF stands for Diversity Assessment Framework. What is this framework? This framework is our overarching and bespoke tool and is meant to promote mainstreaming of EDI across our organization and to support also good practice in EDI. The DAF is also a biannual cycle, so we have just finished the DAF 2018 and we are now in DAF 2020 cycle. The DAF counts 10 indicators, 5 essential indicators, which are called E1, E2, E3, E4 and E5, and 5 good practice indicators. Just like the essential indicators, they go from G1 to G5, and they try to cover different areas of our work and trying to measure to what extent we mainstream EDI in our in our operations and in our work. And the indicators measure things like capability in EDI and EDI focus areas, as well as adjustments, leadership, equality monitoring. So do have a look at the guidance, familiarize yourself with the requirements and what actually each indicator is about. Who is responsible for the DAF? A simple answer would be everybody. That is because the DAF is about how we mainstream EDI in our work and in our operations. Therefore, it is about everybody and is about everybody's responsibilities from bottom to top and across the organization. So responsibility for the DAF would include leaders, so country directors, so leadership team, everybody really, everybody in your team, everybody in your operation. Everybody should be committed to the DAF, should contribute to the requirements, should collaborate with colleagues to make sure that EDI is implementing and try to respond and satisfy the requirements of the different indicators of the DAF. So don't forget to collaborate with your team, possibly lead on a number of indicators, and make sure that you get ready for your submission for DAF 2020. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Susanna. Okay, ta-da! There are 5 essential indicators in the DAF. This is the same number of essential indicators as in previous DAFs, and as you know, the DAF takes place over a period of every 2 years. But for the next DAF, which will be in 2020, the definition and the headings and the process around the DAF will be a little bit different, so listen carefully. So the essential indicators are, the first one is about developing capability in EDI. So it's all about making sure that staff, a large number of staff, complete the different training, mandatory and otherwise, programs available around EDI. The second one is to make sure that an effective approach to making adjustments is in place. And this relates to things like our own buildings, external venues, the digital platforms and presence and products that we use, our working arrangements, our policies and practices, as well as our programs, services, and activities. The third essential indicator is ensuring that EDI is embedded in external services and contracts. So this is covering areas like ensuring that when we have contracts or agreements with external partners, that there are EDI related clauses included in those contracts. And there's a lot of guidance around that and how to do it and the kind of wording to use. But it's also about analyzing any challenges that we face or that we might face when trying to embed EDI into contracts and working with external partners, and how we try our best to face and tackle those challenges. The fourth indicator is about a fair and inclusive organizational culture. Again, there's quite a lot of guidance about this, but it's also about ensuring that a large number of staff take part in internal EDI-related activities, and this could be like talks or particular activities that involve staff with an EDI focus. And the fifth one is about leadership, and this is very important for the country directors out there, and this is a piece, it's a reflective piece that all country directors have to write as evidence for this indicator, and it's about explaining their own experience and their own leadership in relation to embedding EDI into their operations and how they do it, the learning, the areas that they could improve, the learning points, etc. A big change in the next DAF will be that this indicator cannot be met unless the number 4 indicator is met. So it's very important for cities to ensure that this is met for even this indicator to be considered. So that's a big change for the next staff. So remember, there are 5 essential indicators in the diversity assessment framework. Thank you.
In the next country DAF, which is due to be submitted by all countries and business units by 2020, there are 5 good indicators, and this is the same number as there have been for the past few DAFs. The first one is supporting the regular involvement of disabled people in our work and in the workforce. The second one is making a significant contribution to our EDI strategy vision. The third one is about deliverables, and this is ensuring that senior leaders in each operation or business unit have very smart deliverables related to EDI, and that they have delivered against those deliverables. The fourth one is about acting on underrepresentation and making sure that we're doing equality monitoring and where there are gaps that exist in relation to any of our 6 areas, that we're making sure that we're putting in place measures to address those gaps. And the 5th one is about using the various tools that we have at our disposal to make sure that we're mainstreaming EDI, and those tools could be, for example, the ESIA, the Equality Screening Impact Assessment. It could be the questions to support inclusion in our programs, or it could be the guide to mainstreaming tool that we use to ensure that we're looking at our programs and our policies from all different EDI angles.
Well, the last staff exercise was held earlier this year at the beginning of 2018, and as a region, East Asia achieved a score of 7 out of 10. This was just 1 point below the corporate target, which was 8 out of 10. And there was only one region across the network which achieved the highest score, which was the Support Services Centre in Noida, which achieved an amazing score of 10 out of 10. So this gives us something to aim for next time. And with all the great examples of EDI work which is being embedded in all the activities we do in countries within East Asia, but also from examples around the network, I'm sure we will see a higher score next time. Thank you.
I think there are 2 main answers to this. The first one, I would say, is the guide to mainstreaming EDI into programmes and projects, and this is what the form looks like. This is available on the intranet, on the ESIA section. This form has 2 sections, one that focuses on development and one that focuses on delivery. And the idea is the programme or project owner would gather a small group of diverse colleagues together, and they would work through the different sections of this form. So it asks questions about the partners, the contributors to the programme or the project, how communications and marketing will be handled, what's about monitoring and evaluation, and in all the questions it's asking, it's trying to get you to consider how to build in diversity and make the programme or project more inclusive at the planning stage. So actions are identified by the colleagues, and then the idea is that they're implemented before the launch. So that's the first answer. The second answer is for smaller activities and events, and this is called, the tool that you would use here is called the Questions to Support Inclusive Activities, and it's available from the same place on the intranet. And this is a much more straightforward tool. You can see it's only a 2-sided document, very short and straightforward, but again, it looks at the issues that would affect stakeholders when planning the event or the activity. It looks at geography, it looks at the timings, specific needs of participants, those sorts of things. And again, a small group works through those questions and writes down action that would make that activity or event more inclusive. So they're the two main tools. If colleagues in Education, Arts and Society were developing policy, then a third tool that they might want to use is the Equality Screening and Impact Assessment form. But I think the question that you were asked wasn't about policy, it was about building EDI into the planning and delivery of activities and programmes. So I'm going to stop there.
Hello everybody, this is Maddie from China. I'm working very closely with Matt in Japan and Susanna in Taiwan to support our regional EDI work. Equality, diversity and inclusion are at the heart of our cultural relations ambitions. Mainstreaming EDI is our overarching goal. It is about embedding EDI into everything we do, into our programs, our projects, our products, and our processes. EDI is not something extra. It is not the responsibilities of only a small group of people. It is relevant to everyone. You are all program managers, and your role and support is very key for us to embed EDI and to help achieve our diversity vision, which is about creating an inclusive organizational culture. There are three simple and straightforward action points you can take away from these EDI market stalls as program managers. Firstly, to develop smart EDI deliverables which are relevant to your program work. I encourage not only you yourself, but also encourage your team members to also develop EDI deliverables. Secondly, to attend EDI learning and development workshops, including awareness raising workshops about diversity weeks or other training sessions, for example, on unconscious bias. Thirdly, which is also the most important, is about using the tools which you have been introduced to by Susanna, I think, at these market stores, and to use it at the initial stage, planning and concept stage, rather than wait until very late of the delivery. So three keywords: deliverables, training, and also the tools.
Hello, my name is Buyung. I'm from British Council in Indonesia, and welcome to our office in Jakarta. I'm one of the members of EDI committee in Indonesia, and today I would like to take you to have a look on our office in Jakarta. Check it out. Okay, so basically this is the whole area of our office. Here we have what we call as collaboration desk, where people can sit and have a collaboration of work. And then on your right is our pantry, and it's designed like a cafe where people still can have a chat and discuss things while over lunch or over coffee. And then here we have a space called collaboration space. So it's more, it's used for more informal meetings, and it's a discussion that doesn't really need closed meeting rooms. And then this is our whole office area. As you can see, the design is very open, and it uses the hot desking where people can sit anywhere, and it also encourages the collaboration between colleagues. And this first row is equipped with special desks with the height that can be adjusted to support the access for people with disability, especially those who are using the wheelchair. And for your information, all of the buttons here are also within the reach of people with on a wheelchair. And on your left is most of our meeting rooms, so in a various spaces and also equipments. And as you can see here, we have our staffs represents our diversity. We have various groups of age, gender, and then beliefs and other background. And let's go to the inner part of the office. So this is also still part of the office where with the same hot desking system. And if you notice, there are 4 silent pots. We call it silent pots. It's dedicated for people who would like to do their work in a concentration and do not want to be disturbed by others. And at the back of the pot, we have what we call as well-being room, where people can use it maybe for a short rest, and for those who are still breastfeeding, they sometimes also use this room to do their things, and we also provide a small fridge there to support working moms of our colleagues. And I think that's all, the tour from the office in Jakarta. Hope you find it useful. Thank you. Okay, now I'm here with Karin, the coordinator of EDI Working Group in Indonesia. Hi Karin.
Hi Will.
We would like to share about what can our colleagues do to support visions and strategy of EDI on their day-to-day work.
Okay, thanks Will. Hi everyone. As a cultural organization, like in the British Council, Indonesia, we believe that everyone, no matter what their position, actually have a role to play, but in the office and outside work. And one of our ways as a program team throughout different programs on arts, education, and society, there's different ways that we can actually work on a daily basis. And the first, that as you notice on the video, that we start from within, meaning that we as an organization, as a member of staff, actually have a good understanding about the importance of EDI and how we could actually use our understanding to mainstreaming that throughout different projects and programs. And one or two examples that's relevant to the introduction that we just had is just around accessibility. When we have a meeting or we have an event with partners or with our team, and also with external, for example, we always think about the accessibility. We're very fortunate because the office is actually supported by accessibility, including for those with disabilities, and that's also applicable when we run an exam or an event outside the office. Another example is actually how we as an organization try to find ways to support the staff on every day as well. We have a well-being room that's also function for those who have to have like a quick break during the work, because we're a very dynamic organization. We have different challenges every day as well. And the well-being room also provided to support a working mom. So it's actually to be able to support them as well. And that's on itself, I'm sure is actually relevant to the British Council Equality, Diversity, Inclusion, Vision and Strategy.
Okay, and we hope that our sharing about how our colleagues in Indonesia support the visions of EDI can be helpful for colleagues in other countries in East Asia and the global team. Thank you.
Thank you, William. Thank you. Bye-bye.